As promised, we're going to talk about what are the differences between these types of assurance. Now, we've got negative assurance, positive assurance, limited assurance. What does all this mean? We're going to talk about that. Make sure you're familiar. And just like everything, this won't be the last time you see this, so no worries. I mean, obviously, every time you see a slide, try your best, get it down as much as possible, but we will be seeing this again throughout the exam. Now, negative assurance, it's the type of assurance in which the auditor expresses no opinion on the financial statements. It's when the auditor provides assurance that nothing is wrong with the financial statements. So they say, we don't see any issues. However, positive assurance, this is the type of assurance in which the auditor actually does express an opinion on the financial statements. With this, you're obviously taking more responsibility. This is when the auditor provides assurance that the financial statements are free of material misstatements. So in this case, in negative assurance, you're saying, we didn't see anything. But with positive assurance, you're kind of putting a blanket over them saying, we looked at it, everything, right? And they're free from material misstatement. A little more responsibility. By a little, I mean a lot. That's what's going on. And then limited assurance is essentially the same as positive assurance. However, it's just less in scope, because positive assurance you have with an audit, limited assurance you have with a review, and as we will see, even it's even required. You say this in the report. A review is substantially less in scope than an audit. You do less work for a review, so this has limited assurance. Now, the conclusion in a limited assurance engagement is accordingly framed in a negative sense. So this is how it looks. When you say that you provided limited assurance, it's going to be framed in a negative sense. So limited assurance, similar to negative assurance in that sense. Based on the procedures performed, nothing came to our attention to indicate that the management assertion on XYZ is materially misstated. So it could be, existence of cash. In contrast, with a reasonable assurance conclusion, which would be formed in a more positive sense, we've got, based on the procedures performed, in our opinion, the management assertion, so the existence of cash, is reasonably stated. Those are the differences there. Make sure you're familiar with these. Going to be critically important throughout the exam. Now, here we go. We've got our engagement types again, just to look through all of these. Again, memorize what sort of standards they need to follow. That's going to be critical. Look for the assurance level that you need to provide for each, the assurance type. Are you going to provide an opinion, or are you going to provide a listing of findings? And this graphic we see, this will appear throughout the different lessons as we get to each type of engagement. I'm not going to really go through it in depth here because I'm not going to dive into what an interim review is, what a preparation is. It's just here. Like, if you're the type of person to really start memorizing and making flashcards, and we do have flashcards ourselves, just a reminder on that, please begin that. But if you're someone who wants to wait to actually see them, that works as well too. So, are we giving an opinion? Is it restricted use? These are all items that are going to be critically important to memorize, to know about each type. Is independence required? Do we report any issues? What procedures are we going to do for each type of engagement? What happens if we disclaim an opinion? Do we assess any fraud risk, the risk of fraud? Do we consider internal controls? And do we need a management representation letter? These are going to be items that we will consider, that you should know as we go through and assess each of these engagement types. Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.